I tried to pass a back mark. I was running second. He didn't see me, and then he hit me, and I went to the wall. Our time was very different. I used to work very hard on driving and work very hard in getting sponsors. I think Senna is a legend. He was, for sure, one of the best drivers in the world. It's very difficult to compare eras.
Welcome to Game Plan, a podcast where we're going to be meeting athletes, business owners, entrepreneurs, and industry leaders. I'm Kaio, Philipe, and I'm going to be your host. What is your game plan?
On this week's episode, Bruno Junqueira.
Welcome to Game Plan. I have the pleasure to be here today with a very experienced race car driver, person who goes very fast in his life. He reinvented himself a few times, and I have the pleasure to have today at Game Plan, Bruno Junqueira. Welcome to Game Plan, Bruno. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Kaio. It's a pleasure to participate of Game Plan.
Of course. Bruno has a little bit about Bruno, right? So you've been running for over 30 years, 35 years in your life, right? You started your career in 1999 when the Formula One was not even a thing, right? Formula One was, probably very European thing, and you're going to talk about that today as well. You've been to the Formula One, NASCAR, Indy. You've been everywhere, right? Is there any race you haven't been in your career?
I was very fortunate to race over 35 years in my life. I race in all the 5 continents. But there is one race that I never did it. It's the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I was very close to do it, but ended up not doing 1 year. But yes, I did the Indy 500 many times. I won the race in Monaco. I raced in Surfers Paradise in Australia. Wow. I raced in Japan, in South Africa, but I never did Le Mans.
Why Le Mans is so important? Why is like iconic?
Le Mans is the most important sports car endurance race in the world. It's a 24-hour race in France.
Wait a second. It's a 24 hours race?
Yes.
Like people are driving 24 hours?
It's the same car with 3 drivers. So
wow.
You have 3 drivers, you race, each driver drives 2 or 3 hours, stop, change. I already did many times the American version, that's the Daytona 24 hours. So that's been a very cool race to do. But the Le Mans is the traditional one, is the most important for whatever reason, because I never raced sports car in Europe. I never got to race Le Mans.
Is this like a car, like a Formula One car? What type of car is that?
On the sports car is what, on sports car world, you have the prototypes and the GTs. GT is a regular car that you can buy on the streets. You have Porsches, Ferrari, Corvettes, BMWs. Jaguar, Lexus, so it's a street car completely modified for racing. And then you have the prototypes. That's like a Formula One with closed cockpit.
And
that's very cool.
And let's talk about that, because that's really interesting. So it's 24 hours of people racing the car.
Yes.
3 drivers.
3 drivers.
So it's 8 hours every driver.
Yes.
How is that possible? How do they eat?
No, usually you drive 2 or 3 hours.
Right.
Stop and change the driver. And
Got it. So there is like cycles.
Then you wait 4 hours. The tough on this is sleeping, because you go throughout
and
the night.
Emotion.
Yes, it's very hard to sleep. At least myself, I would kind of sleep 1 or 2 hours, and then I have to go back again. Not on the car, but you have to go back on the pits waiting, because as you get out, so we have a driver that's going to drive 2 hours, 2.5 hours, so you can have that gap that you can relax. Then you have to go back, because when the drivers get out of the car, you are the next one. Somebody get in, and you are the next one to go. So wow. it's very, throughout the night, it's very difficult.
And I imagine, and people are watching like live?
Live. We have like, in Le Mans, we have like 100,000 people on the track. It's a very long track. It's like a 4-minute lap. It's a very long track. So people, they do a lot of parties around the track. People go with motorhome, spend the night there, barbecue, drinking. I mean, it's like a party for the people that watch that race. It's car fans or race fans passionate. that they know every car brand, every driver, and they spend the whole day there.
Amazing. But you see, it's for the people attending, for the audience, it's definitely a party, right? It's an event, it's a travel, tourism event. But for the drivers, it's I imagine the preparation, the physical preparation, it's intense.
It's very intense. People think that driving race cars is easy. People can drive from Miami to Orlando and don't get tired. But for us to drive 2-3 hours because of the lateral Gs, the heat of the car.
What is a lateral G?
Lateral Gs is when you do a corner. Sometimes when you're driving, you do a corner, the body tends to go to the other side. That's the G-force. So when you do a corner very, very fast at very high speeds, when you do the corner, like the neck tends to go to the other side. So you need to have a very strong neck. And then you need to have a very strong shoulder and forearms to steer in the car, because most of the racing cars do not have power steering. So it's very difficult. And then when you brake, it's like somebody, you have 5 Gs of braking forces. So it's like 24 kilos or 60 pounds force behind your neck.
Wow.
So when you brake a street car hard and you want to go forward, but think if you brake 10 times stronger than a regular street car all the time, but like throughout 2-3 hours.
And how do you prepare physically for that? Like I imagine like a lot of muscles and racing, running, right? Like how do you prepare?
Racing,
you have to eat, like there's a diet or?
Racing is a very different sport. A little bit like soccer. It's not the most fit that wins. But to be able to compete at high level and drive 2-3 hours or on a 24 hours, 8-9 hours throughout 24 hours, to be at high level, driving at 100%, you need to be really fit. Because some drivers, they start to get a little bit tired and start to go slow. So to be able to drive your 100%, you need to be really fit. And you need to have a combination of 2 things. Number 1, you need to have a really good cardio. When I used to race Formula 1 or IndyCars or prototypes, because of the Gs, my average heart rate in a 2-hour race is 160, 170.
The average?
Average.
Wow. So that's your heart like pumping,
exactly.
like non-stop.
So you need to have a really good cardio.
A pilot has ever died in like as a physical condition? I know it's a deep question, but it's a fair question because it's a very intense.
Tired, I never saw that. I saw drivers getting out of the car and fainting.
Wow. Because of the intensity of the, wow.
So you have, number 1, you need to be very good on cardio preparation. And number 2, you have to be really good, strong on the muscles. Because the forearms, the shoulders, and the neck, there is a lot of energy that goes there. So you need to be very strong on those parts.
Do they doping the racers? Serious question, because every sport you have people like gaming the system, right? Like taking things to be more superpowered, like supercharged in the car.
On racing, you used to do 2 anti-doping controls throughout the year. Like when I used to race IndyCar, 1 before the season and 1 random throughout the year.
Right.
We had a couple of drivers that took caught on doping that I know.
Can you say their names?
I better not. One was he should take some tablets of
like nicotine
CBD or whatever for pain.
Right.
That I don't know if that helps or not. But one of them took Adderall.
Wow.
And at the time, I didn't know what Adderall was. That was 15 years ago. And he was caught with Adderall. And then I learned that Adderall gives you attention. So, in that guy, you should race NASCAR. And NASCAR is 3 hours race. A long 500-mile NASCAR race, 3.5 hours. I thought, maybe if the guy takes Adderall, his concentration will be better.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the only cases that happened that I know. But
he was caught, right?
Yeah,
so he was caught in Adderall.
Yeah.
And was he winning?
That guy, he won a few races, yes.
I'm sure. Yeah. He was supercharged. No. Bruno, but let's talk about you a little bit. And I mean, we were talking about Le Mans, and I think we can go far here. You started your career because you love to be what was the spark when you were like little Bruno, right? You were in Brazil, in Belo Horizonte. Yes. You're from Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais. What was the spark that got you to think, I want to be a race car driver? Like, what was the game plan at the time?
two things, how I started. I'm a very competitive person. I always like to win. And number two, I love racing. I love cars. So I think it was a combination of cars that I love and the combination that I love to compete, to beat people. That gives me pleasure. So I think that's how I started. I started actually at 6, 7 years old racing BMX in Brazil.
What is BMX?
BMX is bicycle.
Bicycle, of course.
Yeah, bicycle, but at the time you used to call bicicross in Brazil.
How old were you?
I was 7.
You were 7 years old and you start running, like competing?
With bicycles.
Wow.
And then when I was 10, I started racing go-karts.
Wow. And then, and you did that, you did it because you were watching, did you have like somebody was an idol for you?
Yes. My game plan, as you ask, my goal was to race Formula 1.
Right, but let's go back for a second. When you were 10, who was your idol? When you were like watching TV in
Nelson
Brazil?
Piquet.
Piquet was your idol. And then you were watching Nelson Piquet on Formula 1?
Yes.
Right? And you wanted to be like him. Which is curious because if you think about the popularity of racing back in 1980, right?
Yeah,
imagine. It wasn't as popular. You didn't have Netflix, you didn't have like all the media, attention that you have today. It was a very segmented industry. Is that right? It was a very segmented sport?
Yes and no. It's so funny. I always think that racing on the 80s, on the 90s, was a bigger sport than what it is now.
So you think racing, like Formula 1, was a bigger sport than what it is now? That's a big bold statement.
Racing. I think Formula 1,
not Formula 1
came out of the
racing segment.
Of the racing segment and became something not just racing.
Right.
But I think in general, I think on the 80s or 90s, there were 2 points. Number one, people, especially men, without the discrimination, but men love cars. Okay. I think that's one of the ideal or the dream of a man is when they turn 18 in Brazil or 16 in the US, is to to have your own car and to have a very nice car. I think today, I know some people turn 16 or 18, don't even get a driver license. They take a ride share and they are fine with that. So
why do you think that it changed? Because Bruno was watching Piquet and what drove you to your game plan, to your career, and a very successful one. But these days they're taking ride share.
Yes.
So what do you think changed in generations?
I have no idea. I don't understand the new generation as well as the past. But what I know that me and 100% of my friends, and even people that didn't know, the dream is to have a car, to have a nice car. They look about the cars, they know about the mechanics of the car, they know how to fix, and everybody who had this mechanical instinct, I think everybody had that. So racing was big because of that. In general, not just Formula 1. So if you go to a stock car race in Brazil or a Formula 3, when I used to race Formula 3 in Brazil, we had 40,000 people to watch a Formula 3 race in Brazil.
40,000 people were watching back in the 90s.
The 90s. And then what's happened? And then there is the second point, that at the time in Brazil or even in the West, we have like 4 or 5 open TV channels. You didn't have much cable channel. You don't have much choice.
Right.
And in Brazil was a tradition. Every Sunday, or almost every Sunday, there was a Formula 1 race. Everybody wake up at 8 a.m. because the race was in Europe to watch Formula 1 race. First was Nelson Piquet, then Nelson Piquet and Ayrton Senna. So me as a kid, my thing was to wake up and watch Formula 1 race because we didn't, Sunday morning, the only thing cool showing on racing or on TV was Formula 1 race or Globo Rural.
The agro show.
Agro show, you know. So,
or the infomercial here in the
infomercial,
US.
exactly. So that drove people to love racing.
But let me stop you for a second. That makes me think how it is similar with today's reality. Media was driving you to be a fan of racing, right? These days you have Netflix with the whole Formula 1 and now Apple, right, with the rights, and we just announced Apple is going to broadcast next year, huge deal for them. But even though you don't, I might be wrong, but empirically, I'm not seeing kids saying, "I want to be a car."
No, they don't.
I want to be a racer.
I think Formula One, they did a very good marketing.
It's an entertainment.
It's an entertainment. I think more than racing is an entertainment event now. It's so cool, and people want to be cool.
They want to be seen and be seen. They want to take their clients B2B, right?
If you get Formula One on the 90s, the people don't go because they want to, and there is a big difference. Now the Formula One cars make almost no sound.
The noise,
unbelievable change from the 90s
because it's electric now?
It's half electric and a small engine to save fuel, whatever. Before it should be a V10, V12. You make a noise from 5 miles away. You're like 5 miles from the track, you already listen the cars. So it completely changed the sport. I still love Formula One, but I'm just saying that it changed, And again, I think now, complementing what I was saying, today you have so much more things to watch.
Right.
So much more options. You wake up at 8 a.m., we have nothing to do Sunday, you go online on your phone and you watch whatever you want. It's not just Formula One or racing, and then in the afternoon the soccer game that was in Brazil, or here in the US, maybe the football, the Sunday night football. That was the only option. So those sports got very popular. But today there is more competition.
How much money can you make as a race car driver in today's world?
I mean, I think some guys in Formula One are making like $50,000 or $50 million a year, the top drivers.
That's salary?
Salary. So I think racing is a very difficult sport because you need to raise a lot of money throughout your career. So
when you say raise money, they have to get sponsors?
Or you are very rich, or that is rich, or in my case, I had to get sponsor. At my time, just to give you an idea, to race go-kart throughout the year was $30,000 to $50,000. Today, I'm just giving today's time. Today, to do a 1 year season in go-kart is $300,000, $400,000 a year.
Investment.
Yes, and then you need to race go-kart for like 5 years. And then you go to Formula 4, that's another $500,000. Then you go to Formula 3, that's $1.5 million. Then you're gonna go to Formula 2, that's $3 million. Then if you're good enough, you get hired by a Formula 1 team. And some guys...
How much it costs in the Formula 1?
The budget of the Formula 1 team? At least 100 million to 150 million, the total budget.
Right.
The top teams is 300 million. Or 400, I don't know. It escalates so much. It should be 300, maybe it's 450 now. But I know that some drivers end up paying $40 to $50 million to race Formula One.
So you need to have money, to come from money.
Or sponsors.
But if you lose, like, you give up on your dreams, right? Because why would you be burning cash?
Yes.
Right. And that's interesting. You said something that I was thinking about that. You said you're a really competitive person. That's why you got into the racing industry, and you were 7 years old. But is an industry or is a sport that if you don't lose, if you don't win, if you're not number one, you're a loser.
Every sport's like that.
Well,
second is the first.
You can draw
loser.
in soccer, right? You can draw in, you can have a.
Yeah.
You can always find your way. If you're a bronze in a World Cup, it's cool. If you're a silver, but in racing, it feels like the race car drivers, they are miserable.
Racing is very tough because usually 26 cars starts and one win.
Yes.
So it's very difficult. But you have. Depends. Sometimes you are learning, you're in the first year, that you finish fifth is good, you are happy, but the ultimate, you want to win, But I grow watching Ayrton Senna, and his mantra is, second is the first loser.
There is like a bake and shake as well, right?
Yeah.
If you're there is a saying, a movie that I think it's Talladega Nights. Have you watched it? It's a very cool movie. What do you think about Senna? How do you feel about his legacy? And as a Brazilian, you're a Brazilian American, right? You are a U.S. citizen as well, as you were born in Brazil. How do you feel about Senna and his legacy, and how it compares with today's idols?
I think Senna is a legend. He was for sure one of the best drivers in the world. It's very difficult to compare eras, but probably the fastest driver ever to drive a race car.
He was fast.
He has a record of pole positions. that nobody's going to beat. Some guys have more pole positions because they did more races, but his ability to qualify the car and do one fast lap, I think is the best. But I think he has one thing outside. I think every athlete, they have 2 points to be successful. Inside doing their sports, playing or driving or whatever, and outside the sport. And I think Ayrton was icon for the Brazilians.
I think globally.
Even globally, especially Japan and Brazil, but globally. But he was our idol in a time that Brazil was in a very difficult situation. And he was the first person that bring the Brazilian proud and show the Brazilian flag, you know, when he was winning, something that never happened. People think every athlete now goes to the podium with the flag, but 30 years ago, nobody did it. He was the first one to take the Brazilian flag after every win. So that commotion of the Brazilian people, I think he became the biggest sports, or the biggest hero of Brazil of all time. You know, you can have Pelé, that was maybe the greatest soccer player, but I think if you get any Brazilian that was born from the 50s to the 90s, that knew Senna, he was the biggest hero, because he represents Brazil. He was proud to be Brazilian, and he fought. He was a fighter, and I think that gives us Brazilians a lot of pride to be Brazilian.
And his whole trajectory, even his death, right?
Yes.
It was a very iconic thing, unfortunately, but was live. Where were you? Were you watching there, or
I was racing in Florianopolis.
You were racing?
Yes.
Wow.
I get out of I was just before the race, somebody told me, I watched his crash, and somebody told me that he passed away. But it's so funny because I think...
and it's unbelievable, right?
It's
one of those things that you don't like, you know, it's a shock, right?
Yes and no, because throughout this year, unfortunately, I lost so many friends in accidents.
In car accidents?
Yes, in racing. So
you lost a lot of friends?
A lot,
I'm
many.
so sorry. Like, when you say a lot, like, what is a lot?
6, 7
wow,
guys
so it's a very dangerous sport.
It's a very dangerous.
Do you think it's still dangerous these days, or how it used to?
It's less dangerous, but still, Formula 1 is much more safe, but still IndyCars, still very dangerous.
Weren't you afraid of like dying?
I think I have a little bit different thing about dying. I think everybody's gonna die. You have to live your life at full. For sure, you want to extend the life, live at full, and maybe die old. But I think I don't know. When I see Senna, he died racing Formula 1, leading the race. You know.
That's very iconic.
That's
if
very
I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die as a winner, right?
Exactly.
Whatever
if you're gonna die, I die as a
nice.
winner. So I mean, I think that's, you know, you are a little bit different than most of the people. You want to win, so
it's very iconic. I'm sure he's.
I became older now, a dad and everything. I'm okay with second sometimes, but I think there was a time when you are young. You go for it.
You just want to win.
Yeah.
Listen, which is curious because you don't see many characters as Senna as you see. Because you said something interesting. You said for you to be a good athlete, you have to be an example in the field or in the pitch or in the track, and also an example as a human being, as a persona, right? And I think he was both. When you see race car drivers these days, or even sports players and professional athletes, you don't see many characters, right, as a good example, right? They're just doing their social media thing, they're making their money, but you don't see people talking about, taking political stands like Senna did, getting the Brazilian flag in a moment that Brazil was through a transformation, a transition. Why do you think that's the case now? You think people do for the grand, or the money?
I don't know. I think it changed a little bit. I see today a lot of young kids, as at least in racing, that's where I look the most. They have two ways. They have to raise money, so they spend a lot of time on social media to have followers, to be able to have good returns for the
advertisers,
the advertiser, for the sponsors. So for them, the strategy is 50% racing, 50% social media or followers. In my time, at least, and I think Our time was very different. I used to work very hard on driving and work very hard in getting sponsors. But I think you work to be honest person, transparent person with the sponsors. You know, like it was more great to go. How many times in my career I went to office of so many companies. You have the deck, you go there with the deck behind the arm and show, here I am, this is my curriculum. That's, you know, I did like 200-300 companies.
So you were pitching,
pitching all the time.
Wow.
So I think it was more like a human, in my opinion, I was more like a human connection, more like a one-to-one. I had to convince the owner of the company. In the end of the day, the owner of the company, I was blessed to have great sponsors. We became friends, but more than sponsor, like the brand, he likes Bruno. He likes what Bruno, myself, had to bring for his company.
The results for...
And the results. But I think today is like, just let's see who has more followers, or more like this or that.
Yeah, but it's a proxy, right?
It's a new thing.
Yeah.
I think that's great. But I think there at the time, I'm just trying to think your question. I think people really care about each other. Maybe today, maybe I'm saying something that's wrong, but that's my feeling. I think there was more human relationship in my time. Connection, eyes to eyes, shake hands, than what there is today.
Interesting. It's true, right? You think about Toyota, you remember Senna, right? And all the sponsors he had.
Yeah.
It really marked the generation. So funny you said that, right? Because is there a driver out there that has a lot of followers, but it's a winner in Instagram, but a loser in the track or in the race? You don't have to say their name, but
I know. That I don't know, because to be very honest, I followed a few drivers now, but I just follow my drivers from my generation.
Who is your favorite driver that are actually driving right now? Who is the top one for you, or top two?
I think Max Verstappen is the best.
He's the best. And the second one?
I like Charles Leclerc. I think he's a great driver.
That's the Ferrari guy.
Yes.
And from your generation, who was the number one and number two?
My generation? I think he's a little bit older than me, but for sure Michael Schumacher was the top driver. Yeah.
He's in a poor health condition right now.
Yes, yeah.
He had
he had a ski accident.
Yeah.
He's in coma for like 10 years.
So Schumacher, and then number two?
Number two.
Don't say Barrichello, come on.
No. I think Rubens is a great driver.
He's a great guy, by the way. He's a great
person, one of the best drivers in the world.
Great business guy.
He's still racing, but I don't know. I think one driver that was amazing. The most talented driver for my generation. I think he's 1 year older than me. In a race against him, unbelievable talent is Juan Pablo Montoya from Colombia.
It's Colombia, no?
Yes, from Colombia. He is amazing.
You don't get a lot of race car. You don't get a lot of race car drivers from Latin America these days. Is that true?
I think gold comes and goes. You know, now there are a lot of
Europeans.
Yeah, always been Europeans.
Always Europeans. Yeah.
Now there are two or three from Australia, but this year you have two. You have Gabriel Bortoleto as a Brazilian driver, and Franco Colapinto from Argentina. Argentina didn't have a driver for 20 years, in Brazil for like 5 or 6. So it comes and goes, you know, and Colombia had Montoya, and that's it. So, I mean, it's very hard to leave Latin America, to raise money, and to go to Europe and succeed in Europe and to get a Formula 1 drive. It's a very difficult.
And Bruno, what do you do after you stop racing? What happens? In your career, you moved to Miami.
Yes.
And when I said Bruno reinvented himself, he's the top star realtor. You sold, I would say, $1 billion in real estate, if not more.
Not $1 billion, but a lot.
Getting there. That's going to happen soon. How do you make that? How was that transition for you?
For me, I came to US in 2000 to race IndyCars, and I had a great career. I won many races, 3 times run-up, 3 times the first loser in the championship. But then I had a big accident. I stayed a year without racing. And then...
What was the accident? What happened?
In Indy 500.
What happened?
I tried to pass a back mark. I was running second. He didn't see me, and he hit me, and I went to the wall.
How were you like injured? I
was injured for a year. I broke my back. I had concussion. It was very tough, but I recovered. But then after I stopped racing IndyCars, I started racing sports car. I saw the big crisis in 2008 here in Miami, and I started to buy some foreclosure, some real estate. And
In 2008, back in 2008.
Yeah, it was 2009 and 10 because it took a long time for the foreclosure stuff happening. And I started to see that real estate is a good investment, especially for Americans. And then I started to invest and learn. I was racing sports car that was just 10 races a year. And in the end of 2014, I got a real estate license to learn. I did a study, I learned, and started to do deals for me and for my friends. And I started to become a really good realtor and a broker and to do a lot of real estate investments.
And you've seen Miami ups and downs, right? You've seen Miami 2008, post-2008 crisis. I think there was the Brico crisis post 2016, 17,
yes.
When the whole buildings were like being launched, and there was like a lot of oversupply, right? A great supply of units, and not many people buying. But Miami hasn't seen, and then 2020, obviously. But Miami seems to be in the peak, right? It seems to be the mecca for real estate now. The new 30 million is 100 million, right? How do you feel about Miami right now, real estate?
I see Miami price going up and down, but if you get every 10 years, always double the price. So I think it's still a great place to live and good place to invest. But I see the prices are a little bit overheated, but not just in Miami. I think everywhere in the world, or even in the US, everywhere after COVID, the people want to move, change, not move new things. You know, they realize life can be short, so they want to do the dreams. So that's why the prices in 2021. So
do you think it's a FOMO happening?
I think it was a FOMO, 2021.
It is still a FOMO right now?
No, not now. I think now the market stabilized, so we're back to what it should be. But I think Miami grew so much as a city. I've been there since 2002. So it's like, I don't know, 23 years.
Right.
And Miami is getting better restaurants, better shows, Miami Art Basel, Formula One race, the tennis tournament, the boat show, and I can name it 10 or 15 big events that Miami has right now. Great restaurants, great hotels, the beach, and great shopping. So Miami, in my opinion, became one of the best holiday cities in the US.
Holiday cities. What about for work? Or a vacation town, right? Like
yes, a vacation town. I think for work is still good. I think we have a big hub of financial.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons Inter moved to Miami.
Miami is the Wall Street of the South.
Wall Street of South, yes. A lot of tech companies, because you have no income state taxes, great attraction for young people.
Yep.
So it's very easy to hire a good company to hire the 20, 25-old people that really are eager to
recent
work.
grads, grinding.
Exactly.
And,
So I think Miami has to everybody. You know, for sure becomes more expensive. But I travel so much in the United States, and everywhere is more expensive.
Right.
You know, maybe Miami is a little bit more than other places. Maybe there is small correction. It's in some areas a little bit, but not much. And I know that in 2-3 years, the price is going to go up again.
What is your favorite restaurant in Miami?
Tough question, but I love Cipriani.
Cipriani Brico or Cipriani Coconut Grove?
Both.
Mr. C.
I like Cipriani Brico because I know everybody there go a lot, and I'm treated very well. But Cipriani, the Grove, the views are amazing. At the end of the day, especially in the summer when you can have dinner 7:30, 8 o'clock, still sunshine, and you see the sun down there, it's perfect.
If you were to buy a real estate right now, or if you were to advise your clients, would you buy in Miami, in LA, or in New York?
I will buy in Miami.
For sure?
Yes.
No LA?
No LA, no New York, because the migration to Miami is still going on. And I think, I don't want to go political here, but the political issues that you have in LA and New York can make your investment really good or really bad. I think Miami is more stable on that side. The rules are more stable. So I think on the future, I think is a better investment.
Is there anything we are not seeing about the whole? I mean, I'm not going to call it a bubble, right? But many people say it's a bubble, like a real estate bubble in Miami, and that's not me saying, but that's what some people say. Is there anything that you are seeing with your lads that are very special that you can see from being in Miami for so many years and many crises, many opportunities? Is there anything that people are overlooking and they are not not seeing the way they should be seen?
Yes, what I see is construction prices are much higher. So all the new supply coming to the market is much more expensive to the old 2015 and 16 buildings. So those 2015 and 16 buildings, they are very nice, almost new.
Well, they're like 10 years old.
They're 10 years old. When the 2028, 29 buildings that cost almost double per square feet are ready, people are going to look, oh, that 2015 and 16 building is a good value. And those, I think in 3 or 4 years, are going to start to go up again.
So that's a good bet. Well, Bruno Junqueira at Game Plan, was a pleasure to talk to you. Always a pleasure. Thanks for watching Game Plan. What is your game plan? Thank you, Bruno.
Thank you. Oh.
Game Plan is brought to you by Inter. Nearly 40 million clients around the Americas. You want to know more? Download Inter right now. Stay tuned for more.